Palworld has taken the internet by storm. Launching into early access on Xbox and PC via the Microsoft Store and Steam, this Day 1 Game Pass launch is crazy as shit. Ark meets Pokemon visuals meets human trafficking, enslaving wild creatures to do your bidding. Some of the pals are sex pests. It's a lot. I've been playing it non-stop all weekend, and as someone who A, doesn't like survival games, and B, doesn't enjoy Pokemon, I am having a freaking blast. You will start by creating a world, one of where up to 3 friends can join in on Xbox and the Microsoft Store versions of the game. The Steam version is a patch or two ahead and has dedicated servers of up to 32 players available. Full crossplay and feature parity is planned for the future, but for now it's either the Xbox and Microsoft Store or Steam only. After finishing your uwu anime character who can look like a damned monster if you want, you'll awaken on an island as cute little creatures hover over your head. Quickly, you'll learn that nothing is as it appears because it's all super cutesy and rips off shamelessly from Pokemon in Breath of the Wild, but is nothing like either game. You are in a land inhabited by the Pals, cute cuddly creatures that you can enslave with your magic ball and force to farm, fight, or bone each other as you please. There is a syndicate of evil humans whom you can also capture, though the only options for them are to either force them into work or butcher them with a knife to steal all of their belongings. This game is really goddamn weird and has no shame in letting you use its base mechanics seemingly however you please. I've put roughly 15 hours into it over the last few days and am pretty damn hooked. It's obviously quite early, but for one of these early access survival games, it is relatively polished. There are a full set of tutorial objectives you'll attempt to check the list off of as you slowly but surely build your slave army. Building mechanics, automated farm tasks, crafting, and combat are all pretty familiar. None of them really break the mold, instead opting to attempt to mix a wide variety of gameplay mechanics and genres together to create something uniquely charming and horrifying. Things start out in Palworld as your typical punching trees and rocks to get resources survival game. Where it succeeds for me is in how quickly you'll feel more powerful and the options you have in the risk-reward style of gameplay. There are a ton of them that allow you to tailor the gameplay loop to your liking. Because I hate losing my gear if I die in these games, so I opted to only drop my inventory on death. At standard settings, the game feels challenging but fair, and you can make it as easy or as difficult as you'd like. I did mostly play on PC while using mouse and keyboard, but found the controls on console work well too. Performance isn't the best right now on Series X or S, with the frame rate fluctuating quite a bit. I do have a beefy PC which handled 4K and Ultra at a locked 120 pretty easily, so I'm hoping with time they can get the console versions up to snuff. Early on, most of your combat and interactions will be at melee range. Punching trees, then chopping them, pickaxing rock, and using a clever spear on pals to either weaken them for capture or knocking them out for resources. It feels fine, nothing special, but it looks good and controls well enough to be a relatively pleasant experience. Where Palworld is different when you start leveling your pals, crafting gear for them to unlock abilities and getting ranged weaponry for yourself. Because building an assault rifle for your little monkey or a submachine gun for a squirrel is weird and I love it. Each pal comes with randomized attributes making them suitable for variable tasks. Watering your farm, chopping down wood, gathering stone, and helping craft make whom you choose to stay at your base matter. You'll have a second checklist of objectives to empower your base or bases, and this system is matched by various random attributes that can make your pals better suited to accompany you into the open world. You'll be capturing hundreds, if not thousands, of cuddly creatures, leveling them, or butchering them for meat and resources, having them fight for you, and riding them across the open plains or flying through the sky. This is a game that is a fantastic sum of a number of good to great parts. For now, in this first version of Early Access, the goal is to constantly level up. Everything you do gets you experience. As you get stronger and have properly kitted out pals in your party, you'll face other pal tamers in battles inside of tower dungeons. There are also various massive cave dungeons that I constantly get lost in, full of rare pals and human thugs to fight for more resources. The game seems very big, though I'm sure the more ardent survival game players will blast through its Early Access content in a few weeks at the most. Palworld also looks fantastic on PC and pretty good on console, as that performance can really struggle on both the Series X and S, but I still think it's playable. Still, I've got a good PC, so I spent most of my time there, and with how well the game is selling, I would hope that developer Pocket Pair will have things running better and with feature parity sooner than later. If you're looking to run a 32-player private server with your friends right now, you will need the Steam version, which is on sale for $26 at the time of writing this. Graphically, you'll get a vibrant color palette full of cute rip-off Pokemon creatures, decent animation work. I had a lot of bugs with enemies going into walls when I was inside the cave dungeons, and then AI logic would break whenever I did. It got me some easy kills, so I won't complain, but it did happen quite a bit. The music's decent when it plays, though that is extremely rare outside of combat. And it can be a very quiet game, and the sound effects are really old feeling, like they were bought from a library of stock effects from the early 2000s. I've seen a lot of reports of people having to uninstall and reinstall the game to fix issues like being unable to craft or having the game constantly crash on them. I've been lucky with no crashes nor gameplay affecting issues outside of the stuff with the caves. It is early access, and their previous game, Craftopia, which was also in Game Pass Early Access, never actually launched as far as I know. This one is a huge hit, so I kinda doubt we're gonna end up running into the same issue because it's having some of the biggest concurrent player counts in Steam history. So I'm gonna imagine the support for this is gonna be A-okay over time. Wrapping things up, Palworld is a very solid survival game with Pokemon-light mechanics tied to a beautiful world that happily rips off sound effects, looks, and UIs from other titles. It's a very weird mix of good and great parts that is an excellent early access game on the whole. And it's available on Game Pass on console and PC at day one, and I think it is definitely worth its very small 6GB download.